Algebra students. Today we are covering lesson 9-4, solving quadratic equations using square roots. Our first learning target for today is to solve quadratic equations by finding square roots and determine quadratic solutions for real-world problems. Our vocabulary is isolate, aislar, linear equation, ecuación lineal, properties of equality, propiedades de la igualdad, quadratic equation, ecuación cuadrática. Example 1. Solve equations of the form x squared equals a. What are the solutions of the equation x squared equals 49? So what we need to do to solve this is to take the square root of both sides. Well, when we take the square root of x, what times what could be 49? Right, 7 times 7. But also, it could be negative 7 times negative 7. So when we take the square root of x and the square root of the other side, 49, because these both equal 49, we have to say that the solution can be either positive 7 or negative 7. And this is how we write this. X equals plus or minus 7. And that is our solution. Okay, pretty easy. What are the solutions of the equation x squared equals negative 121? Well, to get the square root of 121, it's 11 times 11. But to get it to be negative, it would have to be a negative. And now it's not a square root because those two answers are different. Negative 11 times negative 11 is positive 121. 11 times 11 is positive 121. So if we're asked to take the square root of a negative number, there are no real solutions. They're imaginary, which we'll learn about hopefully soon. Example 2. Solve equations of the form ax squared equals c. All right, what are the solutions of 7x squared equals 112? The first thing that we have to do is divide by 7. Does 7 go into 112? Let me check my calculator. Yes, it does. So the 7's cancel. We get x squared. 112 divided by 7 is 16. Now I can take the square root of both sides. What times what is 14? 4 times 4. So it's going to equal either positive 4 or negative 4. That's our solution, x equals plus or minus 4. Okay, let's do part B. What are the solutions of the equation negative 3x squared equals negative 24? Thankfully, when I divide by a negative 3, the negatives cancel. So we can take the square root. X squared equals 8. Now I want to take the square root of both sides. So x equals the plus or minus the square root of 8. I can simplify 8 because it's 2 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2, so a pair is going to come out, leaving 1 inside. And I'm going to rewrite my answer up here. So if x was equal to plus or minus 8, and I'm just simplifying the square root of 8 to be a 2 comes out and a 2 stays in, the answer will be plus or minus that. Plus or minus 2 square roots of 2. All right, you could also leave it like this unless it asks you to not leave any perfect squares inside of the radical. So either or is fine. Let's try it. I think I'd like to pause the video here and work these out as a class and ask you guys questions, see if you're paying attention. All right, example 3. Solve equations of the form ax squared plus b equals c. This is now just a two-step equation with a square, x squared in it. So what would the first step be? Yeah, we're going to add 5 to both sides. So 3x squared comes down, the 5's cancel, equals 22 plus 5 is 27. What's the next step? Great, divide by 3. The 3's cancel, x squared equals 9. Now I have to take the square root of both sides. So what times what is 9? Yes, 3. So plus or minus 3 is what x equals. X equals plus or minus 3. Okay, on the next problem, solve this quadratic equation, negative 5x squared minus 19 equals 144. I am going to add 19 to both sides. The 19's cancel. It's going to be 3, 5, 1. Negative 5x squared equals 153. This is not going to go in nicely. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5. This cancels. X squared equals 30 and 3/5, negative. Negative 30 and 3/5. This is not a problem that we have a fraction, because if we're to take the square root of both sides, we would be taking the square root of a negative number. And therefore, there are no real solutions because we cannot take the square root of a negative number. When you are ready, turn the page.